Just as sunflowers chase the sun, inductees into the South Dakota Hall of Fame chase their dreams day after day, year after year. The 700-plus inductees in the Hall of Fame come from all backgrounds and corners of our state. What their stories have in common is their unwavering courage and belief in their dreams. These dream chasers are an inspiration for us all to strive for excellence and believe in our own potential to chase dreams well into the future.
Jim Wooster spent 35 years with the Sioux Falls Stockyards Firm and many years broadcasting the daily markets on KELO-TV. He started his career at the Stockyard Firm the day after he graduated college from South Dakota State University. Jim also spent nearly 35 years, beginning in 1971, speaking to young people to encourage them to pursue a career doing what they loved. In addition to the many ag and chamber-related events at which Jim spoke, he also addressed annual FFA Awards banquets for nearly a decade. Throughout his career, he has touched the lives of nearly every agricultural producer in South Dakota.
Well, hello, I'm Miles Beacom with South Dakota Hall of Fame, and I'm with the famous Jim Wooster this afternoon. And Jim is part of the class of 2001 Hall of Fame inductees. So, Jim, to start with, can you give us just an overview of your history from growing up through today?
We grew up on a ranch farm type place about halfway between Reliance and Oroville, about 8 miles northeast of Reliance. Went to school in Reliance and then high school in Chamberlain. And in those days there was a draft, and when we got out of high school, I joined the Guard. It was an engineering outfit in Chamberlain. 6 months at Leonard, like everybody did, and then another 8 years as far as Guard. Started at South Dakota State and I graduated from State. I always like to say on a Monday night, June of 1962, and I started at Sioux Falls Stockyards the next morning at 6 o'clock. I was there for 43 years in different capacities, all in the cattle, but buying or something like that. And so I've been in Sioux Falls since 62. This has been my own.
So just from growing up outside of Chamberlain to going to South Dakota State, were there challenges in there for you?
I just hated going to school. Just hated going in there. And then I had an English teacher. I was pretty good at English. I probably would have been in other courses if I just worked at it. But I was English, and her name was Nell Labadie, God love her. And I was about halfway through my freshman year, and she asked me to stick around after class. Basically, she said, you know, you're a pretty good person. I don't know if you know this or not, but the other kids like you if you give them a chance to like you. You just step out and be who you are. And at the time, I didn't know it, and she might not have either, but it was a turning point for me. Because she said, kids like you. You know, don't think they don't like you because you're pleasant. So anyway, and there, now you've heard a story that I've never told anybody about. One of the things that in fact, may I tell one more story about a teacher?
Sure.
Nell Labadie. As you know, Miles, I did 13 years of radio and television for the Stockyards. I was on a lot. One night, the telephone rings, and it's Jim, Nell Labadie. Oh my goodness! It's so good to hear. How are you? And we talking, and she said, Jim, you know better than use the word irregardless. It just grates me. There's my English teacher calling a 40-year-old guy to chew him out for using it wrong. So a good teacher never forgets you. But she was the reason that I was able to kind of step out and just be who I am.
And that's so important. And you being with the Stockyard for 43 years, a number of times through that career, you could have jumped and chased something else, but that's where your passion was. You loved what you were doing. And because of that, you look at who you became and what you built. And you look at that, and you have a tremendous name in South Dakota, not only from your work at the Stockyards, but for what you do in the community as well. And that's just as strong, if not stronger, than the 43 years you had. But I think it's an incredible message for the kids to understand. Once you find something with passion, don't always be looking for the next deal, because if you devote your time in your career and you want to be the best at that, you will be.
That's right. And the money and everything else will take care of itself. It really does. And if you don't like what you do, you're not going to be very good at it. And we've all, every profession has got people that are doing it, that they really don't like what they're doing. Now they're making enough money that they're paying the bills, and it's not too bad, but they're looking forward to Friday and they're dreading Monday. That's how you know.
And all of us have had those challenges.
Yes.
And you had the teacher that took you aside and really helped you out.
Yeah.
The other thing, Jim, that you have always done is been involved in the community.
Mhm.
What made you start getting involved with the community?
I guess in 1971, when I started doing markets for the stockyards and being more involved outside of the yards, and I started doing things for the Sioux Falls Farm Show, which tied right into what my love was, my professional thing was.
Well, do you ever think of the number of people that you've impacted because they've been watching you give back in the community as well? And you've been a great mentor for a lot of people. So I want to thank you for everything you've done for the community and for the state.
I appreciate that. And I wouldn't, you're lucky when you look back, and there's not much I would change. I'm very lucky. There's a lot of things that, and that's the other thing I'll tell young people, is sometimes if you just go about what you like, things will take care of themselves. But it certainly wasn't. I said, you'll be good at the stockyard. When you're 22 years old, you can't even find your car, much less, off what you're going to be good at. But just, if you enjoy going to work, the rest of it